Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces this beautiful June morning. And yeah, we're going to start with a couple of songs. If you'd like to stand, I invite you to. If not, that's fine. And yeah, we're going to get happy here.
Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me. Pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me. Pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, sing your joy in me. Sing your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, sing your joy in me. Sing your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, shine your light in me. Shine your light into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, shine your light in me. Shine your light into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Whoa, wonderful Spirit.
I
Love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. My name is Bob Greer. I'm your practitioner on service today, and I'm jumping back and forth, so keep your fingers crossed that this works. uh, our welcome to the center. Our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. And we want to welcome anyone who's here for the first time. If there's anyone here for the first time, why don't you raise your hand? I don't see. There is. Welcome. Not singling you out, just want to know who you are. So thank you for being here. Make sure you grab one of those gift bags on the way out. It has some gifts and a discount to our store in there. So, and some other good information. And Oh, and also anybody that is not already on it, we have our weekly email newsletter that goes out every Thursday. It's full of information. It's how I keep track of what's going on here by looking at that. They do an excellent job of keeping us informed. And if you want to receive that in your inbox, just fill out a card or call the office, and they'll be happy to take care of things for you. A couple of announcements. We have a 5-week summer class facilitating by our very own Reverend Bonnie. Welcome back. Starting June 6th through July the 11th. That's on a Tuesday. It's going to be from 1 o'clock to 3:30. And sign-up flyers are out in the social hall there. And it says here, this is a bargain class, $45 up front, then a weekly love offering of whatever you feel like. A good class to invite a friend or who's interested in learning about what we are about and what we teach. And then it says here, remember when those folded cranes, and we gave them to the city to hang? They began hanging at the Las Cruces Museum of Art on June 2nd. To go along with an origami installation. So you're invited to go by and check it out. I actually saw something on that on social media the other day, so that was cool. Very nice. All right. Switching hats, we believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. If you would like to have any kind of prayer, we have prayer request cards in the back of the chairs. Fill those out and drop them off in the offering plate. You can also go online and do it online through our website. Those prayer requests are always held very sacred and private, and so they're only shared with the practitioners that are involved in that. And every Tuesday we meet on Zoom. There's a gathering of all the different New Thought communities, the 4 New Thought communities here in Las Cruces, and we get together every week and we pray with you on your requests. And we do that for 2 weeks. And then if you still need more, it's free. Just take advantage of it. And also, in addition to anybody that is in need of some prayer treatment after service, just find Judy or myself and we'll be happy to do a short treatment with you. And oh yeah, the gratitude cards. We always love hearing anything of gratitude that's been going on in your life, either from because of prayer treatment or just in general. If you have something that you would like to share with us and let us know about it, please add that to the card and let us know. We'd love hearing all that. So now it's time for song, silence, and prayer.
Take a breath, close your eyes, go within, deep inside. The gift is always there to find. Open up, say a prayer, feel the peace that's waiting there, and Spirit is never far behind. Take a breath, close your eyes, go within, deep inside.
and spirit is never far behind. Take a breath, close your eyes, go inside. Take a breath, close your eyes, go inside. Take a breath, close your eyes, go inside.
So, as the beautiful words of that song remind us, there is one power, one presence that is always right here, right inside. And at any time we can connect with it by just taking a breath, going inside, and knowing the truth of our being. That truth being that we are all connected to Source at all times, as we are connected to each other, everywhere present, always. There is no separation. I don't have to connect. All I have to do is go inside and know. So grateful for the time we have here today on Sunday. So grateful to have our beloved Reverend Bonnie back with us. Looking forward to hearing her stories of her travels, and with a heart overflowing with gratitude and appreciation, I simply say, and so it is. So the reading this morning is from the Beverly Hill Lectures, a series of lectures that Ernest gave when he was living out on the West Coast. And it says, and there is one thing I want to say. There is something about this that makes only people who believe in spiritual things good practitioners. And he makes the note of saying, small p, practitioners. We are all practitioners. Only people who have a great love for people make good practitioners. Only people whose tolerance has passed into understanding make good practitioners. Only people who have a natural or developed inclination and a conscience and a subjective ability to feel the invisible make good practitioners. I'm not talking about anything occult. All I'm saying is this. Will you ever have a great artist unless he or she has a great appreciation for beauty? It's impossible. You'll never have a great musician without a great appreciation of that which makes music. But everyone has this spark. Everyone has this love. Everyone has this understanding beyond tolerance. Everyone has this rhythm, this harmony. Everyone has it just because we are here. Therefore, it exists alike, somewhere at the depths of our being in all people, to be reached by feeling, by objective conversation, by sympathy and tolerance and kindness and human understanding, by love and attention and all the little things of life.
Sergio, can you come up and sing for us?
So this song, when I first heard it, and when I paid attention to the words, it reminded me of the importance to let go of the negative things that had been floating around in my head, and the importance of taking accountability to be able to move forward. So, songs have different meanings, but that's what I got out of it. Listen to the song here in my heart, a melody I start but can't complete. Listen to the voice from deep within. It's only beginning to find release. All the time has come for my dreams to be heard. They will not be pushed aside and turned into your own, all 'cause you won't listen. Hey, hey, listen. I am alone at a crossroads. I'm not at home in my own home. And I've tried and tried to say what's on my mind. You should have known now. Now I'm done believing you. You don't know what I'm feeling. I'm more than what you made of me. I followed the voice you gave to me. But now I've gotta find my own. You should have listened. There is someone here inside, someone I thought had died so long ago. I'm free now, my dreams will be heard. They will not be pushed aside and turned into your own, all 'cause you won't listen. Hey, hey, listen. I am alone at a crossroads. I'm not at home in my own home. And I've tried and tried to say what's on my mind. You should have known now. Now I'm done believing you. You don't know what I'm feeling. I'm more than what you made of me. I followed the voice you gave to me. But now I've gotta find my own. I don't know where I belong, but I'll be moving on if you don't. If you won't, no, listen to the song here in my heart, a melody I start, but I can't complete. Oh, now I'm done believing you. You don't know what I'm feeling. I'm more than what you made of me. I followed the voice you think you gave to me. But now I gotta find my own, my own.
Thank you, Sergio. Yes, we got to find our own voice. Beautiful. So, hello, everybody. Hello. Yes, I made it home. Yay. Thank you. It is so good to be back. It's good to see everyone and be in this energy again. So as Bob mentioned in the prayer, the title of my talk is, if I can find it, this amazing trip that we're on, this amazing trip. And I imagine you all thought I was going to be up here in a kilt. So I'll show you the kilt that I bought. Isn't that cute? These things are expensive. And this one obviously won't fit. But someone gave me the idea that I should get a little one and put it in a shadow box when I came home. So this is the one I bought for that purpose. So there you have it. My kilt for the day. Anyway, I am excited about being back, and this trip of a lifetime is the topic. But this month, we're focused on self-care. So the song was perfect. looking at what's going on inside in those voices. And I'm sure you're probably wondering what my 21 days in Scotland have to do with self-care. So what I'm going to actually be sharing with you are some of the lessons that I learned about self-care throughout the last month. And they're a little different than what you might be expecting. Some of you are laughing who followed on Facebook and know some of the things that I went through. But self-care I've found to be very important. And what I need to let you know to start off with is that I had never traveled this far from home alone, ever. I have traveled within the United States by myself, and I went down to Costa Rica, but I was greeted by my niece and didn't go very far, and that was a straight shot. So this was 3 plane shifts to get there and 3 to get back, and it was the furthest I'd ever gone on my own. And I will admit, I was pretty nervous to do this trip. And I had always wanted to go back to Scotland. And I say back because when I was 16, my family traveled around Northern Europe because my father was a scientist and gave a paper over there. And what they did was assign to my brother and I each to have a country that we would determine what we were doing in that country. And I had chosen Scotland because as a younger kid, I competed in Scottish Highland dancing in Southern California. So I had always wanted to see real games, even though they were real in Southern California. I wanted to see them in Scotland, and I wanted to see what Scotland was really like. So we went to a Highland Games in a place called Heads of Ayr, and I was brave. I mean, I was a shy kid, but I was brave enough to go up to a group of girls that were competing and introduce myself because I wanted to meet some people that were danced like I had. And one of the girls and I hit it off, exchanged addresses, and became pen pals. We were 16 years old, and we wrote for years. So I wanted to see her when the 25th anniversary came up of 25 years. I didn't have the money to either get there or bring her to see me. So this has been a long time dream, and I finally got to reunite with her. We had a blast together, and she was really the reason that I wanted to go. So in December, I was looking toward this year and thinking of goals. What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do this year different than what I'm doing all the time? I thought I'd like to see if I can get to Scotland this year, but it was just a thought. Trust me, I didn't really know that it was going to happen because, again, like I said, I was nervous. I was nervous about traveling alone. I was nervous about leaving the center, and I knew that if I would get myself there, I didn't want to just turn around and come home right away, that I would have an extended stay. And this was the longest I've been away from the center since I started in 2012. So I was nervous about that. Originally, the annual meeting was going to be on the first Sunday, and after I'd already gotten my plane ticket, we moved it to the third. So I was nervous about being gone for the annual meeting. So thank you all for your understanding, and hopefully the video worked. It was good to be able to zoom in for a portion of it. So all this stuff was going on in my head. And I don't know if you all remember a woman that visited here for a while. She was part of our congregation. Her name was Shaz. Some of you remember Shaz. And what she did when she was here is she was a AAA travel agent. Well, in December, she texted me out of the blue and said, I haven't talked to you for a while. How are you doing? What are you up to? And we started going back and forth over text. And she had started her own travel agency. So just off the cuff, I said, oh, that's nice. Maybe you could help me get to Scotland someday. Well, she jumped on that. She jumped on it, and within weeks, I found a place that you could stay. It's really cheap, and she's messaging me, and you better grab it now, and I can get you a plane ticket over and back for less than $1,000. You better grab it now. And I'm like, I haven't even decided that I really want to do this yet. But I have to say that she was the angel that made it happen. I mean, she just kept after me. You better get this, grab it now. Things are going fast. And I thought, wow, this is falling into place. It must be meant to be. So I said, oh, okay, go ahead, book it. So Ernest Holmes, our wonderful founder, said, if we look at love long enough, we shall become lovely. For this is the way of love. God is love. If we gaze lovingly at joy, it will make it home with us, and we shall enter its portals and be happy. If we seek the divine in all people, we shall find it and be entertaining angels unawares. And I'm smiling at Taylor because she brought an angel with her today, and she's got a couple of them in the room. And I will say that Shaz was the first angel of this trip because she really was the reason it happened. I was also overwhelmed by trying to schedule things online. Everything's online now, trying to figure out where to stay and trusting and picking out the plane ticket. I was so relieved that she did all that. So she was my first angel. But there were others. It was an amazing trip filled with angels who showed up at just the perfect time. So fast forward, as you know, I ended up getting on a plane, heading over there. And when I arrived at the Heathrow airport, which is where I landed before I got to go up to Glasgow, I sat next to an angel in the airport who helped me figure out how things worked there, how the lines worked, where I needed to be. And she was going back to Glasgow. She had moved there 6 months prior. And so she shared with me places to go, things to see. And just talking to her about it made it more real, and my nervousness went down. And I got more and more excited about seeing these places and doing these things. And then once I got there, my friend that I had made way back had told me she would meet me at the airport in a taxi. Well, she came with another friend who had a teeny tiny little car that my suitcase luckily fit in. And they drove me back to my flat. And what was surprising when I got to my flat is that it was 51 steps up to it without a lift, which is their term for an elevator. So that was challenging to begin with. But the next day when I was going to meet her, so she was 2 train stops away from my train stop, and we were going to get together. I went down those stairs and I was ready to go. And the only thing I could figure out is that I needed to walk the 30 minutes from my flat back to the train station. And on the way, I'm trying to figure it out. And again, trying to do this stuff with GPS, you could not buy a map of the city that was anything other than a tourist map. And I wanted one with streets on it. They don't exist. So everybody's, do it on your phone. So I'm trying to follow my phone to get back, and this young man's walking along. I said, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to this train station? Am I going the right way?" He says, "Oh, I'm on my way to the gym. I'll walk you there." So there was another angel. Walked me to the train station. Perfect. The next time I wanted to go, I got to the bottom, and I thought, I'm going to try to take the bus. And there was a gentleman in his car, clearly somebody who lived in the apartment building. And I said, "Can you tell me which bus to take to get over to the train station?" He says, "Oh, that's on my way to work. I'll give you a ride." So I got a ride to the train station, which was fabulous. So like I said, angels all along the way. And my friend kept pointing out to me, and several people in Scotland said to me, that Scottish people love to help each other, and they love to help you. And she said, "Don't be afraid to ask for help. People will stop and help." They would stop in the middle of the road in their car, ask for help. No one's honking. Everybody just waits till they get direction, and then they all keep going again. I was stunned. I saw that over and over. People love to help, they said. And my friend said, "You'll never know if you don't ask." Thank you. There's a life lesson that I could use. So I felt just in the arms of amazing angels. Everyone was very helpful. They assured me several times, different people, that if you have a problem and you're outside someone's home, they will come out and help you. They won't just stay behind their closed door. So it made me think, do we go through life expecting people to help us and to be kind? It was amazing to have that, to know that, to feel that, and have that expectation. And how do we treat people who are new in our area, who might be seeking help or are lost if they're wandering down the street? Are we willing to help, or do we just sort of ignore it and keep going? It made me think about the importance of how it is we interact with the stranger in our midst, because it was lovely to be treated the way I was treated there. The other thing I noticed is, because I took a lot of buses, is every single time people filed off the bus, every person said, "Thank you, driver. Thank you, driver. Thank you, driver." I was amazed, and I told a friend here, and she said, "What? They're paid to do. That's their job." It didn't matter. There was gratitude for the service. Every person would say, "Thank you, driver. Thank you." A lot of gratitude. Thank you to the people in the stores. Thank you to the conductors on the train. And so I again thought about the importance of gratitude and giving thanks, whether that person is supposed to be doing the job or not. how that felt to be in that a feeling of gratitude being expressed. So I thought about self-care, and I started thinking about it in these terms. I thought maybe being gracious and helpful and in gratitude is a form of self-care. We talk about we get what we put out there, but I'd never actually put that label of self-care on it. And this month I started thinking about it. When we project helpfulness and gratitude and friendliness to people, that's a form of self-care, because that's what comes back to us. So before I left on this trip, I came up with the title, The Trip of a Lifetime, because I was anticipating that. But I was also thinking about life itself. And I feel like life itself is the trip of a lifetime, and we're all on it. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that this human experience feels like the trip of a lifetime. And I thought about here on earth how important self-care is for how we travel, how long we travel, and the way we experience this trip of a lifetime along the way. Ernest Holmes says the body is a concrete manifestation existing in time and space for the purpose of furnishing a vehicle through which life may express itself. And so I thought about self-care of this vehicle that is letting life express itself through me. And the fact that we are all experiencing the trip of a lifetime. And so what if we looked at our life as the ultimate vacation? Now that was something I thought about too, because we often say we're in Earth school. Oh, that sounds fun. And we're here to learn lessons. And we usually say that when we're learning some lesson that really isn't a lot of fun to learn. Don't we usually say it then? Well, we're here to learn these lessons. But what if life was intended to be the trip of a lifetime, the ultimate vacation? Then what will we do? How would we plan our time? Before I left, people were asking me, are you going to go on any tours? Do you have any tours planned? Do you have, all these things planned? And I kept saying, no, nothing. I was just going to show up, and I decided I wanted to leave it open. I just wanted to see what unfolded, where Spirit took me each day. And I have to tell you that it's only because of this teaching that I went with that attitude. Because in the past, I would have planned out every day. I would have had my hotels planned in advance. I would have had train tickets lined up. But I decided I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to trust that when we need a hotel, we'll get one. Which we almost didn't, but we did. But this was, for me, a way of experiencing this teaching by just allowing myself to go with the flow in a way that I've never done before. I usually am a big planner. So I did have 3 specific days where there were Highland games that I wanted to see, so I needed to be in that place at that time on that day. So 3 out of 21 days, I knew where I was going to be. The rest of the time, I had a vague idea. I had an outline, I listed all the things I would like to do and see. And I knew my brother and his wife were going to be able to meet up with me on a certain day, but I didn't know how long they were staying for. I didn't know when they were going to be done and had to go back. They had won a trip to Ireland, so they came early, spent some time with me, and then went over to their conference in Ireland. So again, it was allowing Spirit to just determine my time and my days. So what I did is created a special notebook for the trip. This is my Scotland notebook. And I put my favorite drink that I discovered over there, the label on the back. These are the Highland coos, as they refer to them. A coo as a cow, but they're shaggy. They're really fun. And I've just kept track. I made my own little calendar in there, and I put those 3 things in. And then I basically put in what I did versus what I was going to do. My friend and I sat down the second day I was there and kind of sketched out what we wanted to do and when we would be able to do it, and she was very available, which was something I was grateful for. And one of the things that I wanted to do was go to the Glasgow Women's Library. Now, this was something I discovered while I was Googling what to do in Glasgow before I left. The Glasgow Women's Library is the only women's library in the world. And what that means is that the books in this library are by, for, or about women. And they have from little kids all the way to adults. They have an archives in there. They provide services to women in their community who are learning English as a second language. And they meet and just chat and have tea together. And when you arrive at this library, they give you a cup of tea, and there's comfortable chairs. It was fabulous. But this was something I really wanted to experience. I tried 3 different times before I finally got there, because when we did try and make plans, the trains and the buses seemed to laugh at our plans. So part of why I was going to the library was to take Tanya Dawson's book that's in our library. She signed one, or in the bookstore there, she signed one and wanted me to give it to them to put in for their young adult section. So that was my goal. And the day that I was planning to meet up with my friend, who was, like I said, 2 train stops away, I had the book, I was ready to go, and I got to the train station, and you have to go upstairs, across, and down to get the right direction. The train was already there. I ran up those stairs, ran down, jumped on the train, knowing I could get a ticket once I got on. And the announcer lets you know where the train is going. Well, it mentioned the next stop, and then it mentioned Grand Central Station, Glasgow. Edie's laughing. It did not mention the second stop. And I was like, wait, what? You know, because we were going to get off there and get on a bus and go over to the library. So I messaged her and I said, it doesn't look like this train's going to stop there. She's, oh, it will, don't worry. So we stopped at the next stop, and then they said, the next stop is Glasgow Grand Central Station. I'm like, we're not stopping. So I messaged her again, and she said, oh, don't worry, I'll get on a train and I'll meet you at Grand Central. So changed plans. I did not make it to the library that day. We decided from there we would go somewhere else. But it made me think, have you ever thought you had jumped onto something and were headed in a certain direction and then ended up somewhere completely different? That's part of this adventure of life, this trip of a lifetime. And I realized that when this happened, at first I felt panic. You know, my first thought was, I'm on the wrong train. What am I going to do? I'm going to be in this huge train station all by myself. And she was just, oh, fine, I'll get on the train. I'll meet you there. No problem. Okay. And then the second time that happened, my brother and sister-in-law and I had decided to go to Edinburgh for the day. And there's a train station to the other side of me, so east of where my flat was, that had a direct line to Edinburgh and back. 53-minute trip. Great, we got a round-trip ticket. We're ready to come home. And we ask, the Edinburgh train station is huge. 3 layers, trains coming and going, people everywhere, escalators, elevators, the whole 9 yards. So we asked someone, where do we get the train back to Holytown, which was the little town? They said, Station 14, it leaves in 7 minutes. And we look over the edge, and Station 14 was right down there. We charge down the stairs. We get on the back, we just jump on the train because we didn't want to be late. Well, as we're starting to pull out, my sister-in-law says, oh, they're 2 minutes late. Oh, well, 2 minutes late isn't that big a deal. The travelers are shaking their heads. The conductor comes by as we're tooling down the road and looks at our tickets and turns around and comes back and says, let me see that again. You're on the wrong train. You're headed for Stirling, which here's Edinburgh, here's Stirling, here's Glasgow, here's where I wanted to be. Stirling was way up there. He says, oh, don't worry about it. Just get off at the next station. The next train behind us is headed for Glasgow Central. From there, you can get the train back to where you need to go. What was lovely about this is that they didn't get mad at us. We were on the wrong train. They didn't charge us extra for the extra part of the trip that we were taking. We had thought we'd be home around 8:30. We got home at 11:30 p.m., but we made it. So again, for me, what I learned is that sometimes we think we're doing everything right. We were in the right station. We thought we were on the right train. We were ready to relax for 53 minutes. And then we discovered we were headed somewhere that we hadn't anticipated. And that spoke to me about life and this amazing trip that we are on called life. And what I so appreciated is that my fellow travelers, my sister-in-law was like, well, it's an adventure. Everybody just was easygoing about it. We redirect, recalibrate, made ourselves, back home. And I so appreciated that we weren't treated like stupid tourists or you're bad, you're wrong. pay us more because you're headed way further than you had anticipated. It was just, it was like we were cared for, and it was no big deal. You could tell conductors were used to people ending up on the wrong trains, and they could help you figure out how to get back home. So it made me think again in regard to self-care. What do we do to ourselves? What do we say? How do we think about ourselves when we make a mistake? When we end up on the wrong train, going in the wrong direction, or when we think we're going somewhere and we end up somewhere else? How do we talk to ourselves? When I first made that first mistake, I kicked myself for like an hour till I finally just, oh, this is ridiculous, let it go. And I realized that part of self-care, if we're especially trusting in spirit and guiding our lives, is to stop beating ourselves up when we end up making a mistake and going somewhere else or ending up somewhere that we didn't expect. And so I wanted to look at not just how I treat myself, but how do I treat others? I was so grateful that my friend and that my fellow travelers were also flexible and didn't get all upset. And it was just, okay, now we'll do the next thing to get us where we want to go. Or we'll change our plans. One of the things that Ernest Holmes said in the Beverly Hills lectures is the universe doesn't toil, it flows. And I realized that part of what I was wanting to experience was going with the flow. And so I was going with the flow. And it was very different for me because those kinds of things in the past would have been really upsetting. And I was a little nervous the first time. The second time I was like, okay, whatever we need to do, we'll just do it and we'll get home. So adding then to this adventure, to this feeling of how do we go with the flow, was the fact that the flow of traffic was on the opposite side of the street to what I was used to. So they're driving down the left side to get going forward, and we drive down the right side. And that seems like a simple little thing, and I thought, oh, it just impacts the driving, and I'm not going to rent a car, so it doesn't matter. It impacts a lot more than that. It impacts how you cross the street, which direction you look to see where the traffic's coming from. It impacts how to figure out which side of the street to stand on to catch the bus going in the right direction, or the train, because the trains do the same thing. So I had to rethink everything so I would be facing the right direction to aim the way I wanted to go. It also impacts which side of the steps you go up when people are coming down and you're going up, because they walk with the flow of traffic just like we do. So they're on the opposite side than you expect. So I was constantly ready to run into people and realize I got to get over to the left because they're coming down on the right. And it impacts, of course, if you run a car, which I didn't do, but my brother did. So he drove us around Lake Ness. But when you're the passenger in a car and they're driving, it looks like traffic is coming right at you and then they go by. It took my brain forever to remind itself, you're safe, it's okay, you're in the right place. You're not supposed to be over there, you're supposed to be over here, they're supposed to be there. And it made me realize how programmed our brains are. Something that seems as simple as which side of the road are we driving on impacts a lot. Ernest Holmes would refer to that as race consciousness, because it isn't right or wrong to drive on either side of the road. You just better do it in the country you're in on the right side. But it made me think about race consciousness on a different level as well. So if my brain was that programmed and had that much trouble adjusting to all these things, what other pieces of race consciousness are in my brain that are impacting how I'm reacting to the world, how I see the world, and what I feel is right or wrong, or how do I feel safe and not safe? So I realized that one of the reasons I love this teaching was that concept of race consciousness and the concept that so much of what we think is right and wrong just is. And it can be changed. It can be different. We can do it differently. And different parts of the world do it differently. And they're not wrong. It's just different. So as I thought about opening my eyes then to all of the different ways, the various options that Spirit has given us on this trip of a lifetime on this planet, I realized that there are so many options, so many choices for how things are expressed. And my friend had a saying that she popped out every now and then, and she'd say, we're spoilt for choice. Spoilt for choice. She would say that when we were trying to decide which restaurant to go to, because there were so many choices. Well, we're spoilt for choice. Or we'd be sitting down and there's so many options. I wanted to eat that, and that. We're spoilt for choice. And I thought, again, what a different feeling that was for me. Because we talk about we're at choice. We talk about all the time that we're taught here by Ernest Holmes and other New Thought teachers. We are at choice all the time. But to think of choice as something that's spoiling us in a good way was a different way of thinking about it. It's not a burden. It's spoiling us. We have so many options. There's so many choices. And that, for me, was another key to self-care. It was enjoying all of the ways that I'm being spoiled by choice. And recognizing that was just fabulous to think about. And so I love her phrase, and I keep reminding myself that. Now, I do realize, and part of the train lesson was that life doesn't always go the way we expect or the way we plan. And I was thinking through, again, the way that I'm at choice. We are all at choice. And sometimes the things that rub us and that hurt are when people make choices in their lives that we don't like. That people might choose because they are at choice also. And I was thinking, of course, about my son and how I had the choice to have a son. I wanted to, I adopted him, and I was so happy to have him. And when he made the choice to leave the planet and get off of this amazing trip sooner than I would have liked him to, I didn't like that choice. And that hurt a lot. And I kept thinking about the fact that even though he did that, I still ended up in Scotland. My life still continued. And it occurred to me that part of self-care is having something to look forward to. And I hadn't really thought of it that way before. Now, I know we all know the usual things. Eat right, get enough sleep and exercise, have a solid spiritual practice. But you don't need me to stand up here and tell you all about that, because you know that. You all have heard that forever. But what I had never thought about was how important it is in my life to feed my soul by having a dream, which one of the songs this morning fit that perfectly as well. Having a dream, letting my dream manifest, allowing the angels along the way to help me in manifesting that dream, and allowing myself the happiness and joy that comes from experiencing something that I was looking forward to. What a difference that was for me to think of that as self-care. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to travel abroad. What you can be looking forward to is tea with a friend. Maybe it's learning something new. She and I, my friend that I met up with over there, discovered that we both love Antiques Roadshow. We look forward to watching that every week. What I didn't know is that Antiques Roadshow specializes their shows to different areas. So I got to see the British version of Antiques Roadshow, which was totally fascinating, to see castles and things over there. But just having that to look forward to was exciting. And so I realized that being more conscious of having things to look forward to and doing them is now going to be part of my self-care. It's what's helped to bring joy back into my life. And so I have one more thing today, if you'll allow me the time. One more awareness that those lovely trains taught me. So I told you that I had my flat, and it was a 30-minute walk to the Bells Hill train station, which was the town I was staying in. And right in front of the flat was a bus stop. And the bus stop, I kept thinking, I could try and get the bus, but I thought I would walk there and try and get the bus back. But every time I saw which way the buses were going, they were going the opposite direction of where I walked, so I didn't think that that was going to work. And I watched the bus when it showed up at the stop in front of mine, and it would go a block and turn this direction. And when I walked, I went this direction, was headed here. So I thought, well, that isn't going to help me any. So then I discovered Holytown, the other one that I was talking about. I could take a bus to within 10 minutes of that station, and then I could actually get on that train and go all the way back through Bells Hill and on to meet up with my friend. So I tried that a few times. And then I finally decided right near the end of the trip, I'm just going to get on that bus in front of my flat, tell the bus driver I want to get as close to the train station as I can and see where I end up. Well, it wove all around. It ended up leaving me right across the street about 2 blocks from the train station. But the bus was facing the wrong direction. It was on the opposite side of the street facing north, and I wanted to be going south. So I asked the driver, can I get a bus back to where you just picked me up from? He said, oh yeah. See that bar over there? There's a bus stop in front of it. That bus, 209, will take you right back to Clydesdale Road, which is what I needed. Well, I'd watched those buses, and they went under the train and headed way south. They weren't going the direction I thought they should. But the very last train trip I took, I decided I'm getting off at Bells Hill, and I'm going to wait for that bus and see where I end up. Sure enough, it went under, but it curved back around and came all the way around and took me right in front of my flat. So I'd been there 22 days, and on the 20th day, I figured out the easiest way to get from my flat to the train station and back. And I thought about this amazing trip called life, and doesn't it seem that often it's right at the end when we figure out how to make it work, when we have to move to the next thing, when things shift. And I thought, it was just in time for me to leave that I had figured out the self-care in regard to buses and trains, and I'd gotten it down to a science. That is, if self-care means the easiest way. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. Is self-care the easiest way or isn't it? And I'm going to ask the practitioners to please stand as we pray. Thank you so much. And so in the joy of this experience, and the joy of sharing this experience, and the joy of life and this amazing journey, this amazing vacation that we are on for our lifetime, I just know that Spirit is alive and well, moving in and through each and every one of us, that each one of us is having the trip of a lifetime in these bodies that we've been given as vehicles for Spirit to express itself in and through us. And so I'm grateful for all the various lessons in terms of self-care, different ways of seeing how it is I can care for this self, the soul, the spirit, the body, knowing that as I care for it, it carries me through this amazing journey in even greater ways. And so I'm grateful for the time spent, for coming home, for each individual here who's a part of this amazing congregation that feels like my spiritual home. I'm grateful for returning home. And I'm grateful for everyone here and the journeys that we are sharing together. I know this time is blessed. I know our time on this earth is blessed. And I'm grateful for how Spirit expresses through each one of us. And so we can just release this amazing time and feeling together as we say, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Edie.
Okay, so right before the beginning of each month, I usually go on Spotify and take the topic of the coming month and do a search on it. So I did a search on songs about self-care, and what I got was, it seemed like the only topic for self-care on Spotify was ditching no good lovers. I was like, okay then. So I'm doing a song called The Power. It's by Rita Abrams, and it's about trusting a loving intelligence that's bigger than our problems. It's hard to have faith when your world is crumbling. It's hard to see light when you're lying in the dark. But don't you give up, 'cause a change is coming. Remember these words and take them to your heart. There'll come a time when you will find that you are free of the
troubles of today. There will be light, things will be right. There is a power that has set you free today. You're out in a storm and the thunder's rolling, alone and afraid. You just don't know where to run, but just you hold on till the wind stops blowing. The end of the storm, you know, is bound to come. There'll come a time when you will find that you are free of the troubles of today. There will be light, things will be right. There is a power that has set you free today. There'll come a time when you will find that you are free of the troubles of today. There will be light, things will be right. There is a power that has set you free today. There is a power that has set you free today.
And that power is amazing, and I will acknowledge and encourage you, even if you're retired, and so you get to decide what you want to do every day. Pick a day each week to just let Spirit guide you and see where you go, who you meet, maybe explore the area. It was just so much fun to do that in a way that I've never been able to do or allowed myself to do. So I encourage you to do that and see how it unfolds, because that Spirit is free within us, and it's amazing what you get to experience in that process. So if you are disappointed that I didn't show you pictures of the trip or any of that kind of thing, if you are on Facebook, I post it every day so people could see. But I'm happy to meet with you, show you stuff. I'm more than happy. My brother made 2 YouTube videos from his drone pictures that he took and videos, so I can tell you how to get on YouTube to see those if you'd like. But I'm not done talking about it, I'm sure. But but I didn't want to just do a travelogue today. I wanted it to be relevant to what we're all looking at, which is self-care this month. And now it is the time that we consider how it is that we give back to this amazing center, our spiritual community. And as usual, there are offering plates at both doors. You can leave your offering on the way out. But this month, we're shifting to who we are tithing to. And each month we tithe 10% to some entity within our community. And this is the Las Cruces Alzheimer Association. And their vision is a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia. And their mission, the Alzheimer Association, leads the way to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. And they are a nonprofit that's been here in this arena in our area for a while, so you can go on our website and read more about them. But 10% of all that comes through this month will be going to support their work here in the community. So at this time, let's say our blessing. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And we can sing, I am so blessed. How exciting.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I just want to say I feel so blessed to be part of this community, and I'm grateful to our past board and to the new current board for holding down the fort so that I could go have fun. Thank you all. I'm so glad to come home to you, and I'm grateful that you're still here and that all is just fine. I love it. Yes, thank you so much. So just we can stand and sing our closing song. Are we doing the peace songs? Yep, okay. Thank you all.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as a center, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Have a wonderful week.